You probably read his reviews in Ottawa Life magazine. WhittyWhittier.com is his website. Keith Whittier is with us. I know you want to talk about movies. I know that the Oscar nominations just came out. There's a pile of stuff to get through. We may move the Oscar nominations to next week because I know you're also a huge CFL nut, as am I. And there's kind of some news going on with the CFL and XFL that I'd like your opinion on. I know that's kind of not what we bring you on for, but I want to go there anyway. But Keith Whittier, welcome to the show. Let's talk movies, shall we? And a couple of flicks you've seen in the last little while. Go for it.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Always.
Yes, there's a couple of movies I wanted to talk about. The first one is a movie with Denzel Washington. I can't begin to tell you how many times I get stopped on the street and people ask me, "Are you Denzel?" Thank you, but
Same thing here.
Ridiculous, right?
I know.
He is in a new movie called The Little Things. Now, this is a movie that dropped about a month ago or so. I just had a chance to watch it as I'm going through everything. And this is a movie where he plays a cop, and he's come back to a town that he was a police officer in before. He didn't exactly leave on the best of circumstances, so he's got like the whole shady past thing, and he's dealing with the investigation of a string of murders of young women. Now, along for the ride is Academy Award winner Rami Malek, of course, from Bohemian Rhapsody, as well as Jared Leto, an extremely creepy Jared Leto, who is also an Oscar winner in his own right for Dallas Buyers Club. This movie starts off so strong, and it's so captivating as they bring us along. But let me tell you something. When you're directing a film, you're like a pilot. You have to be able to take off wonderfully, and then you've also got to land the plane.
I love that.
This film went through so much turbulence in the third act of this film. They weren't able to land it. So it was one of those movies where it's like the best 2/3 of a movie I'd seen in a long time, but then the ending was just really poor. Unless you're a huge Denzel Washington fan or Rami Malek fan or Jared Leto fan, I would say skip this. The ending is extremely disappointing. It's like excited to go to one of your favorite restaurants, and they just burned everything.
No.
So it's a pass on me for The Little Things.
All right. Again, that is called what?
The Little Things.
And where would people find that if they were looking for it? Do we know yet?
Yeah, so that's on different streaming services like Apple TV. You can probably rent it off of your cable box and things of that nature. And let me just say, sometimes it's the little things, paying attention to detail in a movie, which is the difference between a great film and a film that you need to pass on.
Fair enough.
Yeah. The other film that I wanted to mention was who doesn't love end of the world movies? So I saw the movie Greenland, and that was with Gerard Butler and Marina Baccarin, who a lot of people will remember from Deadpool as well as Homeland. Now, in it, they're a couple dealing with some issues when all of a sudden they find out that we've got these big meteorites that are coming towards the planet, end of the world, and all of this. The premise of this movie was good, but the challenge is there's just so much going on in the 2 hours of this film. There's just so many different moving parts and different storylines. As I'm watching this film, I'm thinking to myself, this would have been better as a TV series. So you could have done justice to these plot lines, but because you're rushing it all so quickly, it just becomes nonsensical. And you just have a feeling like I've been here, I've done that. I've seen other end of the world movies that have done it much better. And sometimes it's rare that I say this, but I think this film would have worked better as a series. And it's interesting because, of course, we're in a pandemic. I don't know how many people want to watch an end of the world type film. So the timing's interesting, but there are better end of the world type shows and movies out there. And again, I would say probably take a pass on Greenland.
That's a really good point. Okay, and if people want to take a pass on Greenland, where are they passing it up?
They are passing on that. It's over on Amazon Prime
Right,
Video. Yeah.
All right. Oscar nominations came out. Of course, the awards aren't for a while yet, so we got time to talk about those. I know your Twitter handle is CFL_fan. Yes. You are a huge CFL fan. Quickly, I want to get your opinion. Where do you think this is? First off, do you think there's going to be a season this summer?
I don't. I read in the one of the newspapers that they said that the OSEG is saying that they're 90% sure there's going to be a season. I find that hard to believe for the simple fact of we're still in the middle of a pandemic. The last time I checked, every other sports league does not have fans in. I have a hard time believing the CFL is going to be the first. There are a lot of people that are very much against taking vaccines. So there's a lot of different and challenging moving parts. 2022 seems more feasible. if it's 2021, are we looking at September, maybe October? But there's no way that it's June or July, or August for that matter. It would be.
I don't know how I feel about sitting down watching a CFL season that goes September, October, bam, Grey Cup, November. Frankly, I think by then it's too late. Okay, exactly. So that brings us to the conversation that seems to be happening. They're having a conversation about having a conversation, which I chalk up to be absolute hogwash. Nobody has a conversation, a planned conversation anyway, without an end game. What do you think is the ultimate plan here? Where's this going, Keith?
So we're talking XFL here, and I've got to tell you, I don't know what the CFL is doing. Last year, they went to the government, and they wanted 120. No, make it 60. Okay, we'll accept $30 million. And I'm thinking somewhere along the lines, there would be some sort of plan in place in terms of what we can do, what the CFL can do to generate revenue. It doesn't seem like that's the case, because now it's a Hail Mary with the XFL. Let's be clear. A lot of people hear XFL and they hear Dwayne Johnson, they get excited. The CFL is the A side here. They've got the built-in infrastructure. They've got, over 100 years of championships. The XFL does not have any of those things. They're an organization that has tried multiple times, and with all due respect, multiple times has folded until Dwayne Johnson and partners came in to rescue it. To me, again, it's a wait and see what it looks like, but it does feel like another nail in the death of the CFL to me, because a lot of the people that I've talked to, some people are interested to see what happens. Some are thinking, okay, well, if it's going to be 4 downs and it's the NFL, why don't I just drive to Buffalo and see a game there? Because I'm going to the CFL because I want to see something different.
And that is kind of where I raise a flag as well. Is the CFL going to be the typically Canadian, or do the typically Canadian thing and accept being second class, or is it going to recognize that no, hold on, we've got 100+ years of history behind us. You need us more than we need you. And if they take that approach, how is that going to wash with the likes of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? That's question number one. Question number two that I have is, if we don't get on board with the XFL, can the CFL survive this?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's interesting because you look, there are several markets in the CFL that are doing quite well. Ottawa being one of them. I mean, we don't have a problem getting butts and seats in the stadium. So,
for a change, we have solid ownership.
So to me, I look at holistically, I've said this before, I'm embarrassed at the fact that I pick up a newspaper and there's more coverage of the NFL than the CFL. And this is when it's in season, by the way, or the fact that I can go to any sports store, have no trouble finding NFL merchandise, but I'm challenged to find something CFL. So
CFL posts things on their social media. They're lucky to get 15, 20 comments, Keith. It really troubles me.
Yeah. So I think they need to look at that infrastructure before they start looking at the Hail Marys and to fix it. Because right now it's the ship, has some leaks and it's starting to sink.
Keith Whitter, where do we find you on social media? CFL_fan. I know that's your Twitter handle. Is that your Instagram handle as well?
That's my Instagram as well. And of course, as you mentioned before, and I appreciate the shout out, WhittyWhittier.com.
Movies, TV reviews, and he'll surprise you with his sports prowess as well. Keith Whitter on Milky in the Morning. It's BlastTheRadio.com.